Hello friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside and this week's nursery tour. Here we are on the shrub lot early in the morning. It is a beautiful crisp day here. We've had a cold front come through and it feels fantastic. So if I think a lot of part of the country is having this kind of cool snap. So perfect time to get out there in your garden and just enjoy this beautiful weather before the heat and humidity returns here to the south. Lots of fun things to share with you today. We have got, you still have plenty of time. Here in North Carolina, we have got plenty of time to be adding in shrubs and perennials and of course annuals. Vegetable planting is really just starting to get going. So don't think, oh, well, it's mid-May, I can't plant. Hogwash. Yes, you can, please. We're getting ready to install some huge major beds with a little bit of everything. Yes, you can. We've got tons of time left to plant. So get that little nonsense out of your mind. One thing, we have got tons of the Limelight hydrangeas. Limelight hydrangeas, I think a lot of people are aware of what a limelight is, but limelights are one of my all-time favorites because they are a pinnacle hydrangea. What does that mean? It means that no matter what the weather does, they're going to get blooms every single year, and they do massive, huge, cone-shaped, creamy white blooms that will turn to a kind of a limey green. If you're in a cooler climate, they will then turn a beautiful pink hue in the fall. Here where we are, our nights are too hot and humid, and so rarely do we get those pink colors. But they are nice and huge. They can get 8 to 10 feet tall and wide. They are wonderful as a hedge or a border. You can certainly use one as a highlight or a specimen plant. I will never forget that hedge at Pleasant View Gardens when we visited them last year. I mean, it was absolutely spectacular. You get a huge bang for your buck with this hydrangea. It is just a classic, wonderful hydrangea. Now, because they bloom on new growth, that means that you need to prune them once a year. You need to prune them coming out of winter, going into spring, and you cut them back by no more than 1/3. They are considered a full sun to part sun hydrangea, so they must get at least 5 hours of good, bright, direct sun in order for you to get your blooms. Easy peasy, love these things. They are wonderful. We also have the new Quickfire Fab. So Quickfire was also just kind of that classic like a Limelight was. So we have the new one is Quickfire Fab that will bloom earlier. It has more intense color. It has beautiful kind of red stalks. The stems are red. They get some height to them. 6 to 8 feet tall, but only 5 to 6 wide. So they're similar in their growth habit to like a Limelight Prime in that they're taller than they are wide. And the Quickfires for us, will change color better than the Limelights. I use them all. I have them all in the gardens and they are fantastic. So just another great pinnacle hydrangea, same thing as before. And then we have got the Spireas. This is double play doozy and I love this plant. Spireas are a wonderful low maintenance shrub. They are deciduous, so they will lose their leaves in the wintertime. But in the spring, you get this beautiful foliage color, and they are just beginning to put on their flowers. Even mine at the house, right there at the patio, they are starting to open up. And that is that beautiful kind of that hot pink raspberry color. And double play doozy is going to be sun to part sun. So again, at least that, oh gosh, no less than 4 hours. 4 hours or more would be great. Mine get sun up to sun down. Hardy in zones 3 to 8 and only 2 to 3 feet tall and wide. They do respond well to being shaped up, a little bit of pruning that late winter going into spring. So when you're pruning your pinnacle hydrangeas, go ahead and shape up your Spireas because they bloom on new growth, and that just helps keep them nice and tight and compact and ensures that you get beautiful flowers. But such a nice, I love doozy. It is just an easy, wonderful, fantastic plant. Coming on over here, there's a lot to talk about, but I really wanted to kind of focus on some shrubs and then talk about perennials, because we've got great perennials that we really haven't focused on here lately. At Last Rose from Proven Winners, it is here and it is blooming. This is definitely the spring bloom time for the roses, and At Last is a wonderful shrub, landscape shrub rose. It will get some height to it. It is, let's see, let me give you your specs here. Hardy in zones 5 to 9, 3 feet tall and wide. Now, like with all roses, it is going to be full sun, so they want that sun environment, but it's got that beautiful kind of a peachy coral color, and it smells great. I mean, if you're gonna have a rose, they better smell, in my opinion, and At Last does. It does a wonderful job, beautiful scent to it, and it is fantastic. The butterfly bushes, of course, if you're looking to attract your pollinators and your butterflies coming up this year, they are doing wonderful, so we have those available. Both the Pugsters and some of the Miss series. The Pugsters are that 2x2, and the Miss series will be in that 4 to 5 foot range, so a little bit taller. We also have some drift roses here available that of course are right now are just showing lots of good color. This is the pink drift that Jerry is showing you. Of course, they will get wider than they are tall. And then over here there is the red. So this is considered red, which right now looks to be a little bit more like a hot pink than like a true red, but it is a double bloom on it. And just, if you're looking to have that nice big pop of color, kind of that carpet wise, then those are great to have. Now, let's move on over here to the pergola shopping area so that we can talk about some fantastic perennials. Of course, hanging baskets. We have got lots of hanging baskets still. They are wonderful, of course, to actually hang, but they're also great. Those petunia ones are wonderful to put in the landscape in containers. You can take any, remember, hanging basket and take it out and put it in a container, and it gives you that instant pop of color. We had such great success on Mother's Day weekend about where you buy an aquapot and you get a hanging basket for free. Then we're going to continue that. So anybody that comes and gets any of the aquapots, you get a 10-inch hanging basket for free that you can plop in if you want to in the container. Now, strawberries. We have got the strawberries from Proven Winners, the Buried Treasure. We have the pink and we have the reds. Let me show you these. Now, the only difference between the pink and the red is simply their blooms. They still produce the same fruit, but obviously pink has pink flowers and red has red flowers. These are ever-bearing strawberries, and in fact, well, ignore that one. That one's yucky. But there is a strawberry right there that is coming along. So they're everbearings. They are perennials. They're perennials in zones 4A to 9B. So extremely versatile as far as that goes. And I found even in our climate that they'll be like a semi-evergreen. So they still have some of their foliage as throughout the growing season. Quick update on the aquapots. They're doing really well. Everybody's starting to fill in here really nicely. Remember, we planted these a week, 2 weeks ago. It's so funny when people come to the nursery, the one plant they're asking me about is Prince Tut. So I find that interesting in a good way, right? So they just love that Prince Tut. He's always such a cute little highlight of a plant. Now, here we go. One of the most popular perennials, without a doubt, last year and this year is the Cat's Pajamas Nepeta. A Catmint, right? This is a wonderful perennial. I have it in the Gatsby Gal bed. It is in full bloom right now. It is a wonderful low perennial. So this definitely wants to go into kind of the front of your flower bed, not too far in the back. Beautiful blooms that just continue to go all season long. If you need to give it a haircut, you can just prune down your blooms, and then they will reflush out and give you continuous blooms. A huge pollinator attractor. Also is one of my favorites. This is also a Nepeta, but this is called Lesser Catmint. dislike the name a lot because it is not lesser of a plant. It is a fantastic plant, but you can see that it has little tiny white blooms. If you are looking to attract pollinators to your garden, this is the plant. Yes, cat's pajamas brings in the pollinators, absolutely. This one brings them in by droves. It is going to be a little bit taller. It's not as compact. Again, I have this in those patio beds. They are going to be hardy in zones 5 to 9. They will be 12 to 16 inches tall and wide. They are considered a full sun plant, but it is a continuous bloomer. And I just cannot tell you how many pollinators go on these plants. So if you can plant them in kind of groups of like 3 or more, then that's this huge pop of this like airy white that is a fantastic perennial. We have rosemary. This is kind of like the scent, the scratch and sniff area here. So we've got gallon rosemaries that of course are a wonderful perennial. I have it growing in my herb garden, even though we don't use a ton of rosemary. Every once in a while we will, but it brings great structure to your beds. So it is an evergreen. So even if you're not a huge fan of eating rosemary, it is wonderful to put in your beds for landscape structure because it can, it can get nice and big and tall. So we have that. We also have the Munstead lavender. Munstead, I have found, does well for us here in our hot, humid clay soil environment. Munstead, great lavender. Of course, it will bloom. As we have the Sweet Romance from Proven Winners. And you can see that it is already starting to bloom some. Again, I have this in a container in the Gatsby Gal bed, and they are starting to bloom as well. So, I mean, you just cannot beat lavender. So we have a couple of choices for you there. Then, this is so much fun. We have, if I can get it out of the container, struggling here this morning because we have got, where did the tag go? It's a Digiplexus. And of course, here we go. It is called Berry Canary Digiplexus. So let me give you the tag. I know how much y'all enjoy the tags. This will be hardy in zones 6 to 8, and it will get to be about 2 feet tall. Clearly, it has a vigorous root system, right? So these things are ready to get in the ground, but look at those flowers. I had a Digiplexus in the patio area last year, and it was beautiful. So this will continue to produce blooms throughout the entire season. So the whole growing season, it will shoot up multiple of these beautiful stalks with the blooms. Once that one's done, you can trim it back, and again, more will keep coming. So this is a great addition to your sunny bed, and you can see right here, like if Jerry can show you, that when you have them in groups, and you have that one plant that gets nice and big and you have multiple stalks, it makes a really nice big impact in your garden. So definitely have those. We've got Rudbeckia and of course the Ajuga. Ajuga is a fantastic ground cover. I'm about to use this in a lot of different areas because it is an evergreen ground cover that will give you, it's low growing, it is not invasive, but it will spread. So it spreads at a controlled rate, right? And you can use them in lots of applications. Some are sun and shade, and some are shade to part shade. So those are available as well. While we're here, we're gonna back up because there's a whole little table full of like color explosion right here. Look at this color, it's fantastic. Here we have one of my absolute favorite Monardas. This is the Leading Lady Raspberry. This was part of the 15 perennials for the South. It, of course, has that beautiful raspberry colored bloom on it. And if you're looking to attract your hummingbirds, then this is a great option for you. Now, Monardas traditionally can be really kind of tall and lanky and leggy, and it has a lot of floppage to it. This one is nice and tight and compact. It will only get to be about 14 inches tall, so it's great for the front of your beds. Hardy in zones 4 to 9. Wonderful, wonderful addition. and just blooms and blooms and blooms its little head off. We also have the dianthus. Dianthus again is even shorter. So we have the Paint the Towns. This is Fancy. Look at Fancy. Fancy is a beautiful pink, and it has a dark center to it, a dark eye with that blue-green foliage on it. The dianthus in general are only 6 to 8 inches tall, hardy in zones 4 to 9, and they are that sun to part sun. But we also have the Fruit Punch series, and the Fruit Punch is like a carnation type bloom. So we have Cranberry Cocktail, but look at that bloom on that. Completely different bloom than the Paint the Town series. Just big impact with those huge blooms. So that's Cranberry Cocktail. And then look at Classic Coral. Classic Coral, I mean, as the color says, beautiful color to it. These do great in containers, of course, in the landscape, the front of your beds, and will make a great kind of border. And then behind Jerry, right here, we have the daisies that are about to, some of them have started opening up. The amazing daisies. So this is Daisy May that has the classic white flower on it, but huge, nice and big. The Daisy Mays are going to be, like with all the amazing daisies, are going to be full sun. About 24 inches tall, continuous bloomer. These are ones though that I would recommend that if you can deadhead, then they perform a little bit better throughout the season as far as their bloom power. And then Banana Cream 2. Banana Cream 2, again, well, I love them all, but they start out a great kind of a buttery banana yellow, and then as the flowers age on the plant, then they'll turn to white. So on the same plant, you'll get shades of yellow and white, like a banana cream pie. So lots of fun. This one actually has 2 blooms on it, so you can see that it has that great color, very soft palette. It is just fantastic. Let's see, Jer, there's so much more we could talk about. What were we missing? Oh, come up here, phlox. I know what I was going to tell you. We'll go by the wheelbarrow. Isn't it coming along nicely? I think so. And as I come by here, I'll come with the Goldilocks rocks, and I'll just deadhead, or the osteos, and I'll just deadhead them. But man, I told you it would fill in nicely, didn't I? I knew it would. We've got astilbes. Astilbes are great. Traditionally are going to be more sun. Grasses, we haven't talked about these grasses. This is Feather Falls. It is a carex. It is going to be part shade. So I know a bunch of y'all were giving me options for up there at the entrance bed to the gate. So this is a carex. So maybe this would be a great option. It's going to be hardy in zones 5 to 9, only 18 inches tall, but nice and wide. So it'll get big as far as like 3 feet wide. So we have that one. And then we have the Evercolor Everillo. And so again, this is going to be that part shade, more of like a chartreuse color on it, and it is also a carex as well. So we have those. The penstemons are doing well. This is Blackbeard. Course is wonderful because it has that purple foliage on it. It is blooming right now. Huge pollinator attractor. Clearly it gets some height to it. So those are options. And then the phloxes. Oh my gosh. There's 3 different ones in this series that we're going to talk about right now. So this is the Luminary series from Proven Winners. This is Ultraviolet, and Ultraviolet lives up to its name because it will have those neon purple blooms on it. It's a long bloomer, has a beautiful fragrance to them. All of these do. It will be 3 feet tall. It is a paniculata phlox, so it has that great kind of cone shape to it. Height to your garden, huge impact from a distance, especially with this ultraviolet, and it is going to be hardy in zones 3 to 8. This does really well for us, even as a 7B. So there's ultraviolet. There is Backlight, which is a pure white bloom on it. Basically all kind of the same specs. These are more, the Luminary series is more disease resistant. The powdery mildew is not quite so much of an issue with these guys. This one will be a little bit shorter at 30 inches, and then the Opal Essence is a very soft pink color, and it will be 32 inches. So your height wise is the Ultraviolet is the tallest, then the Opal Essence, and then the Backlight. The first time I ever smelled these, I thought it was the gardenias blooming. And then I got away from the gardenias and I was like, no, but I still smell it. It was this. Just a delicious, wonderful fragrance to it. I'm all about adding fragrance to the garden. Tons and tons and tons of, two more that I want to show you. Oh, no, come here, right quick. I know Jerry's like, come on, Jenny. I get started talking about plants and I just can't stop. All right, so the Rock and Glow, this is the Sedum. This is the Coral Jade Sedum from Proven Winners. So wonderful perennial. Remember, sedums love neglect. They hate fertilizer. They hate to have amended soil. They want to be planted and forgotten about. And then in the fall, they give us a beautiful color. It is going to be hardy in zones 3 to 9, be about 18 inches tall with the bloom. But they do that, it is a type of stone crop, fall color. And then it'll have the citron green buds that open to a soft coral pink later in the season. Hence its name, Coral Jade. So we've got that. And then one more phlox that is getting ready to bloom right now. This is the Opening Act Romance. So Opening Act is a different series of phlox from Proven Winners and Walter's Gardens. It is just called it's just a hybrid phlox, but more wispy, not quite as those thick, broad leaves that the Luminary series does. Obviously, it's going to be an early bloomer. So it's going to come and bloom before the Luminary series does with the paniculatas. Fantastic, just a different texture and movement to your garden. It's just lots of fun. So we have got, I mean, I could sit here and talk all day about all the different perennials that we have. These, of course, are mostly on the sun side. If we were to go into the pines, we've got tons of different hostas for you to choose from, and ferns, lots of fun, astilbes and brunnera and eucharas and all sorts of things. So come see us this Wednesday through Saturday, 9 to 3, and this Saturday, I'm so excited. This Saturday, we are going to have Bolton's Curbside Cookery is going to come back to us. So if you remember, this is the fantastic food truck that has all the gourmet burgers and fries and onion rings. I think I told you last time that they were here because I had talked about how much I enjoy their onion rings. When I went to go order my food, they had sold out of onion rings. So I'm just going to tell you the onion rings are terrible. Nobody wants the onion rings. I will sacrifice and eat all the onion rings for you. So make sure you don't order the onion rings. But anyway, they will be here this Saturday, May the 14th. So when you come, bring a blanket, bring your lawn chairs, whatever. The weather, I think, is going to be fantastic, so you can shop. It's flowers and fries, as one of our viewers said. I love that. Flowers and fries this Saturday, so you can eat, you can shop, you can hang out, enjoy yourself. Just come and enjoy the beautiful surroundings here at Creekside Nursery. As always, we so appreciate you. Y'all have a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.